How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Emerald City Hockey post-game live as the Kraken take down the Boston Bruins 5-1. Another huge game for the Kraken. Pick up another big 2 points. Lots of guys scoring goals, showing off that scoring depth up and down the lineup. Guys are producing. Yanni misses the game, but it's okay. Other guys step up in his place to kind of create that chaos, have that energy out there. Lots of stuff going on with this one. Guru comes back in, looks good, all that good stuff. And to do it all a day after the passing of David Bonderman, the man responsible for the Kraken coming into existence and coming back to Seattle, you can tell that this was an emotional one for a lot of people in the organization. And after an event like that, it definitely feels good to come out there and get a win like they got today. So that is obviously a cool story to all of this. But yeah, I mean, really, this team is just playing like a different group than what we saw, a couple weeks ago. They're playing smart yet simple hockey. They're taking advantage of what defenses are giving them. They're attacking in different ways from what we saw earlier this season. They're willing to go east-west. They're willing to go to the slot. They're willing to just throw pucks on net and have a shoot-first mentality. We even saw Andre Burakovsky kind of change things up from just last game, where we were all pretty critical of the way he always button hooks. What does he do in this one? Carries the puck in on a controlled zone entry, goes around the world, finds somebody to pass to, boom, you get a goal out of it. So this is a team that is actively trying to get better. They're actively studying what they're doing. They're making adjustments. They're really listening to their coaching staff, and they're improving, and they now look like a good hockey team. That's not something that we were saying a couple weeks ago. It was something that I felt was still possible for them. They just needed to find a way to have it all kind of click for them. And what we're seeing now is that it is all finally clicking for them, and they're able to go out there and do this. So I'm really pumped about that. I'm sure a lot of people are going to be excited in this post-game live about it. And I can't wait to hear from RJ as well about what Coach Dan and the players have to say when he joins us in a little bit. So let's go ahead and start off with some super chats here. First one from Jessica. I mean, it's probably worth $5 million for a backup goalie that only allows 1 goal on 34 shots. Yes, Grubauer was really good. I dare RJ to not say that Gru was solid in this one, right? Gru stopped a ton of shots. Obviously, the 33 saves is the big number there, but there were some big time saves that he made, and didn't allow a goal during regular play, I guess we could call it, right? Only allows that one on the shootout move, and it was it was a pretty darn good shootout move there from Brad Marchand. So I don't know that a lot of goalies were going to stop that one, but he looked really really solid in this one, stepping up big again, kind of continuing what he had in the last game that he played. That I thought kind of made him look solid, which was he was being very aggressive, coming up out at the top of his crease. He was really challenging shooters in a way that we're not used to seeing from Philip Grubauer. He had that in the Rangers game, trying to get right. I thought he had it in this one as well. Just that aggressive approach, really kind of daring shooters to come at him. Rebound control is still a little iffy, but I feel like it is in a better place than it was earlier this season. And that's good, because if you're going to be kind of aggressive and play out at the top of the crease, you don't want to be like leaving a bunch of stuff there for teams to pick up and kind of go around you. So I appreciate that from his game. But yeah, he just looks like a different guy. He's playing at a much higher level, allows the Kraken to do this, right? Where Joey started last game, Gru can come in for this one, keeps the wear and tear off Joey Decord, keeps kind of both goaltenders fresh, both in a mindset where they can step in any given day, play a good game, give the rest of the team a chance to win the game, which, at the end of the day is really what you need from your goaltender. So, yeah, is it maybe more than you'd want to spend on a backup, and to have 2 guys in your organization that make as much as they do? Yeah, it's not ideal, but right now they're both playing phenomenal hockey, and they're giving the squad chances to pick up 2 very needed points the way the Kraken did today. DJ Singleton with the next super chat, demanding first line minutes for the Wright line. That line just, they are feeling it like nothing else, right? Obviously Shane Wright gets the 2 primary assists in this one, but Oliver Bjorkstrand is on the heater of all heaters right now, right? Like, he is just kind of going off. Let me see if it's updated for his last 5 games here. It hasn't added in this one, but he's picks up a couple goals in this one. It gives him 5 goals in his last 5 games. buckets more in points. He's just playing fantastic. Like he's just like absolutely playing out of his mind right now. Tolvanen is just doing such a good job of being a consistent forechecker on that line as well. He's been putting up points as well. Eeli Tolvanen, he's been getting goals. He's been doing his thing. But the thing that I really think makes a lot of that line work is Eeli Tolvanen coming in on the forecheck. He's so good at, he doesn't necessarily lay out a big hit, but he's really good at stopping opposing defenders from really being able to cleanly collect the puck, cleanly move the puck up the ice. His timing for disrupting them is just kind of, it's perfect, is really what it is. And so if you notice a lot of times with that line, Eeli Tolvanen is going to come in, challenge the defender down below the goal line, whoever goes to kind of retrieve the puck off of the dump in. Eeli Tolvanen goes in and challenges them. And then whether it's Bjorkstrand or Shane Wright, whoever that second guy in, that second trailer in is going to pick up the puck that's now been left free because Tolvanen's tied up the defender. The other one, the F3 in this scenario, just comes down the slot looking for a pass then from that player who just collected the puck. That's basically all this line has been doing for the last 5 games, but it works so well, especially at home now where the Kraken can line match and you can send them out there against, lower defensive pairs, lower lines, especially on a team like Boston that maybe doesn't quite have that depth. You're able to send them out there. But that's basically what this line is doing right now, is just Tolvanen in on the forecheck. And if it's not him, Shane or Oliver Bjorkstrand can do it too. But a lot of times it's Eeli Tolvanen. Second player into the zone just kind of goes to where that battle is, collects the puck, throws it out to the third player who's just waiting for that opportunity to get a goal. That's a lot of what this line has been doing right now. And I'm with you, DJ Singleton. They should probably be out there more than they are. I mean, I'm looking at the ice time right now. 17:21 for Tolvanen. It's not bad. 15:17 for Shane Wright. 16:26 for Oliver Bjorkstrand. It's good ice time. They're definitely getting more than they were. But there's room for maybe a little bit more. I mean, with the way Oliver Bjorkstrand's playing right now, you could probably bump that up closer to 18 minutes realistically. Give him another minute and a half out there, I would think, and you'd probably be all right. Kraken fan, are they legit now? Yes and no, right? They are legit in the sense that they are playing fantastic hockey. They've corrected a lot of the mistakes that they were making. They're taking advantage of opponents' mistakes. They're playing a really solid foundational game, just rock solid fundamentals, all that kind of stuff. That's going to give them a chance to win on any given night, in addition to the goaltending that they're receiving. This is a team that can challenge anybody right now. I do think. Can they be consistent with it? I don't know. Right? Like they're consistent with it right now. And it's a good time to be, because they're playing all of these tough teams and they're finding ways to at least pick up a point, like in that Florida game. We've never seen this group really be consistent for long stretches of time before, though. And as injuries kind of come in and out and guys are in and out of the lineup, like a Yanni Gore, Daniel Sprong comes in tonight, could have been Ryan Winterton, all of that kind of stuff. Until they kind of prove to me that they're going to be consistent like this, I might hold off from saying, legit. And it's also, legit is a relative term. As far as a team that can go into any game and potentially walk away with a win, or at least play it close, yeah, I think they're at that level of legit now. Are they going to be a playoff team level of legit? If they keep playing like this, they will be. But I got to see it for a little bit longer before I'll fully buy into that level with it. And that's something that RJ and I talked a lot about on the podcast yesterday. It was just kind of looking at the kind of playoff outcome. And this team's going to really need to start banking wins, kind of go 2 wins for every loss the rest of the season if they kind of want to hit that playoff mark. I think this is a team that can do that. They're proving to us that they can do that. They're playing the best hockey that they've arguably ever played. We just got to see how long they can kind of keep that going, because that's a question with this group, at least in my opinion. But I am happy to see them finally play this way, because I've been kind of talking about it all year. I knew they had it in them. They just kind of had to find it and then start playing that way. So I'm really happy about that. Tammy with the super chat. Berkey must have watched our last post-game live. No button hook, and that led to a goal. Also treats for Afra. Afra is not in the room right now, but I'll be able to. Oh, there we go. Afra is coming into the room now. I am. Oh, is Afra getting a lift? Here we go. I have to have the desk up standing for my back. So it makes it a little difficult for Afra to join the post games right now, but thankfully she was able to find a ladder to climb on there and get in here. So thank you for that, Tammy. And yeah, Berkey, whether it's coaching staff, Berkey, somebody was obviously watching what we were talking about last post game. So and that's really something that also came from the community. So everybody, give yourself a pat on the back for that one. Did great job there, pointing that out. And yeah, obviously coaching staff noticed it too, went and talked to him, and we saw the great result of the play there when he didn't do it, when he actually kind of went out there. So that's good stuff. Got Gregory next here, and we all know what time that means. It's lemon lime Gatorade time, baby. And let me get my Gatorade here opened up and ready to go. I was worried I jinxed him because this is my second Gatorade today, because I woke up like all with my back all like cramped up. I needed to hydrate. So I did have to crack one open. I was worried that I was going to jinx the Kraken. Thankfully, that did not happen. Thankfully, we were able to have lemon lime Gatorade time here tonight. And this will be really good right before bed. Hopefully that doesn't happen tomorrow morning when I wake up, and I will enjoy more of that when RJ joins us. Also hear from Gregory. That third line was humming tonight. Groovy played his butt off. Great win in honor of Bondo. Hashtag I got married today. Gregory, way to bury the freaking lead at the end there. That's incredible news. Congrats to you and your partner. That's awesome. Really happy for you there. And I mean, that's fantastic. And I'm sure chat's going off as well on that. That is really dope. Really, really happy for you, Gregory, on that. And yeah, third line, we just talked about kind of how they work and what they're doing well. Grubauer's playing fantastic, playing that aggressive style. He's getting, he's finding his game again. And then, yeah, this is, you can tell how much this meant to the Bonderman family. Samantha Holloway, now new majority owner of the team, and all of that. So this is a good one for sure. Like the next super chat, Matty won't get talked about much, but he made the Bruins look like children. Quietly great game from him. Matty Beniers had another good game in this one. And I mean, he'll get talked about a little bit. I mean, he did have a primary assist on that first goal. It was a good, and it was a great way to kind of find Oliver Bjorkstrand. I mean, I'll talk about this. And if Striatic's in chat asking about favorite goal, for me, it is probably that first one from Oliver Bjorkstrand, because was Matty Beniers not looking for Bjorkstrand's stick there? Like, I don't think Matty Beniers was necessarily just shooting that puck. I think he was shooting for Oliver's stick. And I think that that's something, we've seen Vince Dunn do that a lot. And we've talked about that. And we saw a lot of that in that Islanders game, right? Last week. It looked like that's what Matty Beniers was going for, in which case that's like a new level of hockey sense, playmaking ability, all of that good stuff for Matty Beniers that we have not really seen before from him. So I think that that's fantastic. I'm going to choose to believe that that's what was going on there, because it just seems so lined up for it. But yeah, it's Matty, another great game. He's just so solid defensively. Just watch when he's out there, just watch him. Just kind of singularly focus on him, especially when the puck starts moving the other way, it starts moving towards the Kraken's own zone. The way he'll play defense through the neutral zone, the way he plays defense in the defensive zone, he's just so solid. Like there is really nobody else on this team that's anywhere close to his league when it comes to being able to play defensively as a forward. It's really, really special stuff. Like I'm not just saying that because like I'm trying to pump Matty's tires or because Light gave the super chat or anything like that. Matty Beniers is just special defensively, and he just has this kind of sixth sense about when he can kind of go for a steal, when somebody's going to choose a specific passing lane, and he can just kind of throw his stick out there right as that pass is coming, and he's able to intercept it. His ability to constantly and consistently get it up and out of the zone in a positive way. He's not just kind of chucking it down the ice and collecting icings. He's just really that good at being a defensive forward. So I definitely highly recommend people kind of pay attention to him. But the offense is starting to wake up for him. Like I said, that play to Bjorkstrand, I think that was intentional, and that signals to me that he's kind of, things are clicking and he's unlocked a higher level in the offensive zone. And I think that's going to be super cool. Job in here. Shout out to Turbo, who took a slap shot off the body and skated down the ice to deliver a huge hit in the offensive zone. Yeah, that was a play that was very worthy of a super chat for sure. Brandon Tanev, what do you want? I mean, ultimate hockey player move right there, right? You sell out and you block the shot. go through that. It's tough to do, right? It hurts, it stings, all of that stuff. I bet it probably felt really good. It took a lot of the sting away to be able to be put in that situation, because not only are you getting to skate kind of full speed to kind of skate it off, walk it off, right, if you will, but then you get to go down the ice and lay out the big hit and kill the penalty and just look like an absolute stud out there doing the job that so few people in the National Hockey League can do, and he's so good at it too. There's a reason his nickname is Turbo. The way he's able to do that, especially on the PKs, is really impressive. The way he just causes the other team to just not be able to operate on the power play kind of single-handedly really speaks a lot to his defensive abilities there. And yeah, good on him for blocking that shot, because I don't think I could have skated 200 feet afterwards. I think I would have crawled my way over to the bench. That's just me, though. Want to thank everybody for all the super chats there. Coming over into chats, we got "That's Kraken Hockey Baby" from Matt. It definitely was. Kraken fan, this win was for Bondo. It for sure was. I know on Discord people were wondering if those patches were available that the team was wearing, and then you saw the pins that the coaching staff was wearing. It sounds like those patches are not available at the lair or anything right now. My guess would be that they will be at some point. I would imagine that they would, potentially do something like that. My guess is on one day's notice, they probably, we're only able to do so much logistically, which makes a lot of sense. So we'll see if those go up there, because I saw a lot of interest on that on Discord, and I just thought I'd share my 2 cents on it. James, never seen a team go from looking like the worst team in the league to looking legit good in such a quick span. It doesn't happen often, I will say that. But that's the beauty of hockey, is that if you can kind of find a way to click, and we see this a lot with teams when they go through a coaching change, right? I mean, even Boston, even though Boston looked terrible tonight and they played terrible in that game against Winnipeg the other night, when teams get that new coach in and they can, they get that new coach bump, right, that we've seen from other teams. Yes, Afra, I know. When they get that new coach bump, right, it's usually because the team plays a simpler style. We've talked about this before on podcasts, on post-game lives, right? Team starts playing simpler. They're able to go out there, find more success. They're not thinking about things too much. They're not in their own head. They're not trying to cover other people's responsibilities, all of the stuff that kind of the Kraken players were talking about while they were going through that difficult patch there. Teams are able to just kind of focus on the simple things, make plays, just operate, maybe even have a little fun out there, right? Don't think about it as work as much as you're just playing a game. You're able to have a little bit of fun out there. It really changes a lot of the dynamics, and it allows teams to kind of go on runs. And so this is where earlier I was maybe like not 1,000% behind saying that the team is super legit right now, because it remains to be seen for me how long this is going to last. Because as we know with new coach bumps, it can last for a while, but it generally doesn't go on for the entire rest of the season. Usually it can. I hope that it does with the Kraken. I think because it wasn't just them relying on a new coach and just kind of stripping everything down to the bare bones. This has been kind of more of a slow build up and progression of building one thing on top of another. I like to think that it could go on for the rest of the season and they could have this success moving forward. But I would say the one time we do see that kind of quick switch is usually around a coaching change, but it's really because the teams play simpler hockey, cleaner hockey. And that is what we're seeing from the Kraken here right now. Ethan with the super chat here. Really appreciate this, Ethan. Need to have Monty get out there as a goalie for the next skills showcase. What a layout move. Heck of a game for Grew. All the good vibes from the meet and greet yesterday has to have done wonders. That is true. It's been fun. That was a crazy situation there, right? Where puck does get through Grew, right? That was Grew's like one leaky moment, was the puck does get through Grew there. It goes behind him, and Monty, way to spot it and way to just dive for it. Dives with his stick first, trying to keep it out. Boston player comes diving in as well. Was it Marchand on the dive in? It might have been. And both guys' sticks kind of cancel each other out. They both start going towards the puck. With that puck kind of moving more and more over the goal line, I don't blame Brandon Montour at all for doing what he did, which was covering up the puck, pulling it back, taking that intentional penalty. That is, a penalty shot when a player like that covers it up in the crease. I totally respect what Montour was doing there. And, you think of the penalty shot maybe as a coin flip, as a 50-50 proposition versus having a puck that's 80% over the goal line, and that, a slight breeze is going to knock it in and it becomes an automatic goal. I think you take that trade off every day of the week. If you're the Kraken, if you're the coaching staff, if you're the player, if you're the goalie, anybody, I think that they're 1,000% behind Brandon Montour and what he was doing there. So that was a sick move. But yeah, throw him in net during the skills showcase, maybe with the appropriate gear, throw him in net for the skills showcase, maybe not just in the skater gear, or especially during the skills showcase when they're not wearing helmets all the time. But yes, that would be a lot of fun to see from him. And it was just a really interesting sequence and kind of how it all went down there. Got Zoe Grew got the first star. That's fantastic. I love seeing that. He definitely deserved that one. Happy about that. James Shane, 6 goals at 5 assists in 10 games back from being scratched. I think it agreed with him. Just saying. Sean, that's Kraken hockey, baby, for sure. Julia, that Schwartz goal was legitimately insane. Who knew Jaden Schwartz kind of had that in him, right? To kind of just go high right there through that gap next to the goalie's head on the backhand. That was some slick stuff from Jaden Schwartz there. Why haven't we seen that a little bit more, buddy? What's going on there? But no, that was a legit sick move there. He made a great move, and he saw what the Kraken have been doing all along, which is looking at what the other team is giving you and then just taking it. That's the perfect example of that. Jaden Schwartz, he's got his head up. He's looking at it. He's looking to make a play, maybe a pass out to the slot. Nobody's there. He looks like, okay, I'll go and circle around the net. But then you can tell that he sees that gap and he's like, you know what? Let me just go for it. Right. And that's exactly the kind of mentality that this team needed to have moving forward is, you see something, just go for it. Or you think there's any chance at all of scoring, throw the puck on net, right? Worst case to worst, it would hit Korpisalo's face and it pops out for a rebound. Right. Or you hit it wide and maybe your guys go and get it on the board battle over there. Right. Like there's very limited downside in a situation like that to going for it with the super high reward of you get a goal, you put your team up 2-0 early on in the game, and you could kind of go from there. So it felt like he has that shooting mindset. A lot of guys on this team are starting to have more of a shooting mindset, which is strange considering their shots on goal totals are kind of low, especially in this one, only 21 shots on goal. I think that was because they were just kind of like disappeared during the second period there. But when they have prolonged time in the offensive zone, we are seeing that they're a lot more likely to shoot the puck. And I think that that's just huge. And I think that's why they're finding more consistent offense is just because they're getting more consistent chances by having that new mindset. And then talking about another sick goal from this one, James Dunn, are you kidding me? That goal was filthy. He's absolutely elite. The hand-eye coordination, throw the stick up there, bat it down, get it in. By the slimmest of margins, it must have been under the crossbar there. It's really tough to tell from all the angles that we got. Even that great angle kind of right down the line. It's tough to tell exactly where the puck makes contact with Dunn's stick. It obviously was down in the heel area. The ref called it right away. The ref had a great angle on it. He called it a goal. Video backed it up. Great play from Vince Dunn. Yeah, that hand-eye coordination is crazy. Lindsay, as someone who's in the building for the shutout in Boston, this is not the same team. That is right. You were there for that rough game, Lindsay. This is not the same team as what we got on that terrible road trip at all. We are in much better shape here. The team is just playing better hockey. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It's just the team is playing better hockey. And it can sometimes just be as simple as that, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that it was all because Vince Dunn was out with an injury or, somebody else was hurt or the lineup was this, lineup was that, all that kind of stuff. This team just kind of finally found their game and it's good. And they're just playing good hockey in a way that they weren't at times earlier this season, most specifically on that terrible road trip where they just could not find offense at all. That's just not this group anymore. And so much of that is that mindset that I was just talking about, where they have that mindset to shoot a little bit more. It really does sound like the organization has made a big push to kind of really, drill that into everybody's heads. It's okay to kind of try to be a playmaker. It's okay to kind of go out there and shoot the puck when you have a good offensive chance. Go there for rebounds. Just kind of focus on making offense happen, because that's the one thing the other team cannot give you. They cannot just give you the goal. You at some point along the way, they can play bad defense. They can give you an opening where you're wide open in the slot. They can give you a rebound. The one thing they're not going to do usually is put it in the net for you. And so I like this kind of mindset for the group to kind of go out there and really fight for that and really try to, just put it in the net. Don't worry about creating offensive chances, blah, 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 all that stuff. Take what the defense gives you. That's all you have to worry about. Just then you just have to focus on putting it in the net. And I think that's a big reason why we're seeing this jump for them offensively. Paul with the super chat here. Appreciate it. Paul Bjorkstrand appreciation. Super chat. Maestro is on fire. He is on fire. He is absolutely unstoppable right now. Again, 5 goals in his last 5 games is nothing to, sneeze at. Definitely coming back and becoming that Bjorkstrand that we know and love as the, kind of second leading scorer on this team behind Jared McCann. He's right there with Jared McCann, who it was great to see him pick up the empty net goal in this one because it's just kind of been a little while since we've seen stuff like that from Jared McCann. But yeah, Bjorkstrand is just playing out of his mind. And it's not just that he's scoring more now, right? Like I said, he plays hard on the forecheck. He plays great defense, right? There was that great moment where Brandon Montour comes back and he stops the Boston breakaway, right? He's coming up from behind the guy. He's able to stop the Boston breakaway and not take a penalty. And I was watching the game with my girlfriend and she was like, Brandon Montour is just like the best at that. And I said, I think he's second best on the team because Oliver Bjorkstrand exists. I think Oliver Bjorkstrand plays fantastic defense, especially through the neutral zone. The amount of takeaways it seems like he's generating right now are just a lot. I'm trying to see if there's one on here. Credited with 1 in this game, but I think there's lots of situations where he just kind of has a nose for the puck and he kind of knows where it's going to be going and he's able to put himself into a spot to really make a play on it. So Oliver Bjorkstrand, in addition to the scoring, he's just playing a really complete 200-foot game right now. The scratch agreed with him just as well as it did with Shane Wright, right? So that's some good stuff. Jeremy, Hockey Gods and Bondo, bless that one for sure. Anthony Grubauer with his best of the year. Love the fact Dan mixing him in more. Good stuff in net right now for the Kraken for sure. If you can get both these guys going. And again, if you just kind of give them both regular opportunities, you should be able to keep them both fresh and in game flow mode, right? I was going to say game shape. They're going to be in game shape. These they're professional athletes. But in that mindset where they can start and they're still kind of fresh enough for it, while also not overworking them and having to worry about one goalie taking a vast majority of the starts, maybe breaking down later on in the season. They really are in a good spot right now in that. I agree with you, Anthony. David, literally everyone played well. I don't know what you could nitpick about this game. Really isn't anything too, right? Like there wasn't really stupid penalties taken at all in this one, right? I mean, did they take any penalties actually outside of the outside of the one, right? So yeah, no, they had the one penalty. It's fine. It was a trip. It just happens kind of thing, right? Played great on the PK, obviously, like we talked about earlier with that play from Brandon Tanev. Take the penalty that leads to the penalty shot. But again, you do that every game, right? Like you can't even really get on Montour for that. Like there really isn't much for you to say that was a negative on this one. Stratic, Shane has to wear the trapper hat all year now, just like Gru needs to wear his new mask all year now. I could get on board with that, Stratic. I think we could do that. I think we could do that for sure. And then Kyle, no soft goal, Goldbauer. Yes, that's some good stuff. Like I said, it was maybe a little bit on the play where Montour had to come in there, but yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Schultz, Sprong breaks the return from scratch streak. Didn't look great. Wins for sure next game. I'm with you, Schultz. I was fine with Sprong coming in, try him out, see where he's at with this group. But I think Ryan Winston just kind of fits in better with the style and pace of play for them. Daniel Sprong didn't really look dangerous. Like he didn't really, I just didn't notice him, to be perfectly honest. I'm looking at it right now. He played 11-17. I think I maybe noticed like a minute of that. So yeah, I think Ryan Winterton coming back in would be good on that fourth line there. Stratic, new mask, new Gru. Just saying. Be hoping that Jared empty netter gets him going. Big shout out to Tanev for passing him that puck to get him the goal and the effort to get it in the back of the net. Love to see it. Yeah, it's been interesting too, because in other situations where the Kraken have had that empty net opportunity, we have seen them at times pass the puck when maybe it's like, okay, you feel a little selfish here. You could go in and try to get that one on your own. I think Turbo knew he wasn't going to be able to really enter the zone cleanly or anything, and he made that pass over to McCann. I think the most beautiful part of the pass is that it's it's leading McCann, so McCann can kind of skate into it, which was really important with McCann having a Bruin kind of all over him the way that he did. So I think that it was a really, not only was it like a nice gesture from Brandon Tanev, but the way he went about executing it was in some ways even more awesome. Shayna Wright, how do you feel our physicality was tonight? I thought we matched the Bruins. I think they did too. I think this is a team that understands, you don't have to be overtly physical, but if you pick and choose your moments on when to be physical, that's kind of like the ideal scenario, right? Like physicality is a tool that you can have at your disposal to help generate things. And I think what we've seen a lot is this team be a lot less physical in the defensive zone, in their own zone, and they're trying to be more physical in the offensive zone. I talked about it earlier with the way Tolvanen really plays on the forecheck, about tying up defenders, leaving that puck, letting somebody else grab it. More and more of the lines are starting to kind of replicate that and emulate that because it's been so successful for that Shane Wright line. So I think that that's kind of where the Kraken are at right now, is they understand how beneficial it can be to be physical, especially off of a dump and chase scenario where you just kind of have to throw it in the zone. You don't have a clean look at a zone entry. That's when they're really starting to get physical and kind of go in there and lay people out. We're not seeing it so much defensively because, and it makes sense. And I agree with this, because in the defensive zone, if you're going to go and be overtly physical outside of a situation like net front where you're trying to move somebody who's like screening your goalie out of the way, I think it makes sense, because if you're going to be physical, like say in the corner, if you're a defenseman, it takes time to lay out a hit. Let's say that, you lay out a big hit, the other guy goes down. Usually then you're kind of tangled up. He's down in your feet. It takes you a moment to get back out and in position. And a lot of times if the puck has been moved by then, you're just taking yourself out of the play in the defensive zone, right? You're giving the other team an opportunity where they're going to have more time and space to go and attack your team, attack your goaltender. Does not make sense to necessarily be overly physical in the defensive zone. Makes a lot more sense to do it in the offensive zone. And I think that's one of those changes we saw from this team as they started that last road trip, and that they've carried over into the homestand here. Let's see. B. Gru's helmet is so freaking sick. I love it. Milo Gribby first star. Masterclass on my birthday. Best birthday ever. I mean, I can't answer that for you, Milo, but this has got to be up there, I would imagine, with the performance. I will say that. And then got Scoble and Brooke here both talking about Sprong playing some defense. It's what he needed to do. If he wanted to get consistent reps in this lineup, he's going to need to go out there and play some defense. It was fine. It was fine. It's clear that it's, he's got some work to do, but I do appreciate the effort from him. I just think, Ryan Winterton already kind of knows how to do that. I think if you give him more reps, he can start waking up offensively, and he can kind of play the style of what's leading to success for you in the offensive zone. Ryan Winterton can come in heavy on the forecheck. He can kind of create chaos out there for somebody. I mean, that lineup with him, Stevens, and Cartier just looks so kind of consistent, where they don't necessarily have the finishing ability of Bjorkstrand, Shane Wright, Ellie Tolvanen, but they were really playing the same exact style, and it was leading to a lot of offensive zone time with the fourth line out there, and that's just a valuable thing to have. And I think that Ryan Winterton brings that more consistently than Daniel Sprong can, even though Daniel Sprong did try to address the deficits in his game. We'll put it that way. Fusion Mix, were the Bruins playing Morgan Geekie as their 1C when Lindholm went down? Probably. I mean, this Bruins team is just not very deep. They don't have a ton of options out there. I mean, Morgan Geekie with 1920, he was second on the team forward-wise in ice time, behind only David Pasternak, which makes sense. Pasta was out there for like the last 4 minutes straight when they had the goalie pulled. So yes, I would say that Morgan Geekie was in that spot for sure. Let's see. Edward, bloody beginning, Bjorky beauties, bumps, bodacious board work. Oh my God, you're killing me here, Edward. I love it, but you're killing me. Brouhaha, blue liner at bat, babe in Bowie land, and a brilliant beatdown of the Beantown Bears in the barn that Bondo built. Incredible work as always, Edward. There's no way I would try that again clean, but I know I can't get through it. But that is some fun stuff. I love that stuff. I love when you do that. Fantastic work, Edward. Jeremiah in here. What a nice win. Anytime you can send the Bruins packing. Shane Wright, 11 points in his last 11 games. Awesome. He's been fantastic, Jeremiah. He's been really great to see from Shane Wright there. And I don't know if you're back up in Alaska, but I hope you had a great return trip if you are. And it was just fantastic meeting you the other week, I should say. Now it's been a minute down here in Climate Pledge. Stratic, Kings lost, Flames lost, Blues lost. That's good. Just don't think about the Canucks or Oilers. Baby steps. You know, they can focus on the stuff that they can work on here. And then I like all the congratulations for Gregory. I do like this one. I probably should have said this too, James. Congrats. Also, get off post game live. Yeah, probably got better things to be doing, Gregory. Go enjoy the night for sure. Stratic, as happy as I am that the Kraken exploited it, Boston is looking not very good, especially by Boston standards. I was expecting a very different game. Yeah, I think their new coach bump ended pretty early. They got a little bit out of it right there at the very beginning. It's just not, it's not there now, right? Like they're just done with it. This is a team that has a lot of issues. I think one of them is what we were just talking about. They have zero forward depth. Where are you supposed to get consistent, not necessarily like production and offense from, although that is certainly a question for them, but even just guys that can kind of solidly move the puck up the ice, keep it in the offensive zone, kind of cycle it around, put some stress on the defense. There's nobody here that can do that outside of, you know, David Pastrnak, right? Like, again, if you're going to have to lean on Morgan Geekie as your 1C, I love Morgan Geekie, but he's not a 1C in the NHL, right? Like this is an issue for that team. They just don't have the depth there. They've had some injuries on their defensive side as well. I think they're definitely missing Hampus Lindholm. The fact that you got to go give Zadorov, who did have a good game today, so I will give that to Zadorov. But the fact that Zadorov's having to play 22 minutes a night for you, I mean, those are the minutes that Hampus Lindholm should be playing. So I think, you know, once they get him back, they'll look a little bit better. Otherwise, Korpisalo looked terrible. Like I've not seen a goalie give up some of the rebounds that Korpisalo was giving up in a very long time at the NHL level. So Bruins, I'm with you, Stratic. Like I have this image of what the Bruins are from all these years past. I think this goes to show like just how much Jim Montgomery was getting out of them the last couple of years. But it really is just kind of on paper and in practice, not a good team right now. And it's just kind of where they're at. Love all the love for Afra there. Josh, success continues for players returning to the ice after being scratched in the form of Daniel Sprong performing a back check. In other news, Turbo continues to play like a madman. Yeah, I don't think anything can ever stop that for Brandon Tanev there. And yeah, you know, again, he didn't step up offensively, but you know what? Maybe that is true. Maybe I'm not giving Daniel Sprong enough credit for the work he put in on defense and coming back from the scratch, everybody. Maybe that is just on me because it would make sense, right? All those other guys that were kind of scratched, Oliver Bjorkstrand needed to up his offensive game. Shane Wright needed to up his offensive game. They came back, up their offensive game. That was not necessarily the case for Daniel Sprong. He needed to work on his defensive game. Comes out, looks a lot better with the defensive game. So maybe I'm just not giving him enough credit. I'll take that. Daniel, why when we covered the puck tonight it was a penalty shot and last time we did it was a power play? Weren't both inside the crease? I have to remember exactly where that last one was, because I know the play you're talking about. If it was out of the crease, it might be one of those plays where it's at the ref's discretion, or because this one was kind of crossing the goal line, it then becomes the penalty shot. Because yeah, I thought it was just kind of a crease play, but maybe that other one wasn't. Let's see here. Are we getting another one? Is another dog coming into the equation here? Somebody was jealous of Afra getting treats, so we got to bring in Junie, the other dog. Here we go. Oh, and we get RJ. Look at that.
Oh, hi, Junie.
All right, Junie was jealous, RJ. So Afra getting some screen time, so we had to bring her in. But happy you're here, RJ, and I want to hear kind of what the reaction was from everybody after this huge win.
Yeah, it was a happy reaction from everybody. I think, and also just kind of satisfied in the way that they played, right? Not too overjoyed, and I think that's important to never get too high or too low after games like this, especially with how the Kraken have been playing. Where it's kind of gone back and forth. They haven't strung together huge win streaks, but they're playing better now, and it seems like they realize that they're doing that. Before I get started, though, with what everyone said from the room and the coaches and players, I just want to give big congratulations to Gregory. I saw the super chat in there earlier. Awesome for you, Gregory. Just wanted to say congrats first before we start with anything else. But yeah, the guys just seemed, pretty pleased with how they played, especially the way the power play is converting. I think there was a realization of how important that was in the game. And this was kind of an unusual situation, right? You don't often get thrown into, 3 power plays almost, right, in the first 3 minutes of a game. And Bilesma said that at that point, we didn't really have the opportunity to dictate play to them. They didn't have the opportunity to dictate to us, really. That nothing had happened at that point in the game. Yeah. And so you just get thrown onto the power play in that situation. And it was huge that the Kraken were able to take advantage there. And I think that's the first big storyline of this game, is that special teams has gone from a weakness to a strength. And that's something that we've seen consistently over the last few games. And it needed to be a strength in this game, the way that this one started, because you had Boston essentially kind of shooting themselves in the foot early on, but that only makes a difference if you take advantage, and the Kraken did. I think the second big story in this one was how well the Kraken defended, because Philip Grubauer played a great game. He played really well, and Dan said it was his best game of the year. He stops 33 out of 34 shots. Yep. Great effort from him, and Dan really had a lot of high praise for Philip Grubauer in this one. But I don't want to take anything away from Grubauer, but I want to focus on how the Kraken defended in this one. It was something, being here in person for this game, the amount of times I heard the same sound, that telltale thud of a puck just hitting a pad in a kind of routine way where you get your whole pad on it, right? The sound I'm talking about. I heard that upwards of 20 times in this game off of Philip Grubauer's pads. So it's like, oh, yep, another one they kind of had to throw in from distance. He gets a pad on it and just ricochets it away into the corner. There were so many of those shots. The Bruins had a lot of low quality shots, and I think that's a testament to how well the Kraken played defensively.
Yeah, no, they played a great game defensively. They did a good job outside the second period, keeping the puck in the offensive zone, all that good stuff there. It was good. I'm happy that you're acknowledging a good Grubauer performance, RJ, and I'm sure a lot of people are as well.
Yeah, definitely. He was solid in this one. I got to hand it to him. Look, I'll say it when he's solid. I mean, there were no goals in this game that he would want back. The penalty shot one was just unfortunate in the way that, a penalty shot developed. You never want to give that up, even though fantastic play by Brandon Montour to get back. That was something the guys were also talking about too. I think I left the Grubauer quote in here in chat. I don't know if you got to it quite yet. So he was talking about what he saw on that play, and he said, I turned around and I see Montour Superman diving into the crease and saved my, I won't say the word, but I left the quote in there. And then Dan loved that as well. He said, that's what hockey is all about. And that's what Montour is all about, is just throwing his whole body into anything and just completely going for it. So the guys loved the play, even though it only temporarily helped keep the puck out of the net. But it was something to watch that in person, because I had a great angle of it along the, kind of seeing it along the goal line, and I knew it didn't go in. From the very beginning, I could see that Montour kept it out, and I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, no, it was kind of a wild play, and yeah, I mean, Grubauer doesn't let one in during regular play, whatever it is you want to call it. He was otherwise perfect outside of that one. I see you put in that Alexiak got the belt. I see people are happy about that one. Do you have your favorite goal of the game? Because I've already talked about mine.
Ooh, my favorite goal of the game. Okay, I'm just going to go with it because it's the most fun. It's not necessarily the best or whatever, but it's Jaden Schwartz's goal. Did you pick that one?
I did not.
So I love that goal because, yes, the Kraken capitalized on that first power play early on with the Bjorkstrand tip, and that's huge getting on the board, but it's a big difference between a 1-0 lead and a 2-0 lead to kind of help put the Bruins away. And so I think that goal, super important in the game, but also, I mean, that play. First of all, Shane Wright, his keep-in, batting the puck out of the air to keep the puck in. I love seeing that from Shane Wright. He's done that a few times recently. And then Jaden Schwartz. I'll be honest, I had no idea he had that in his bag. I did not know he was capable of doing that. So that was pretty cool to see. And we all kind of said, wow, after that one.
Yeah, I basically said the same thing when talking about that goal. What I liked about it though is that he actually went for it, right? And you can tell there's like a moment where he realizes like, oh, there's an opening there, because it looks like he's just going to take the puck around the net and just kind of come out the other side, look for a play to make, right? There's a moment where he realizes, he's like, there's space there. Maybe I should just kind of go for this. And that's the mentality that this team needed to have, RJ. So many guys, I know we focused on it with Shane Wright and him being scratched and them working with him on kind of shooting more, being more offensive and having that mindset. But I thought that was a great example of other guys on this team having that mindset. And that's part why they're having the success they're having now.
That's confidence. It's the kind of thing that you don't see when a team's in a losing streak either, because you only have a split second to make that decision. You can't actually think about it. You just have to go off instinct. And when things are going well for you, sometimes your mind just tells you to try it.
Yeah. Got a couple super chats here. Moonazoid, watching them scrape blood off the ice 15 seconds into the game was a first for me. Thanks for the post game, guys. Go Kraken. I kind of imagine that might have been a first for a lot of people. It's not often that the game barely gets underway, RJ, and then they have to stop and kind of do some work out there.
No, that you don't see that very often that early into a game, and you could see probably on the TV broadcast, Lexiak had a big old like chunk of some blood here. Yeah, everybody saw what happened there. But yeah, a whole trail of blood was just kind of left leading under the bench, and so they had to go scrape that off. Grubauer was out there with the linesman, kind of looking at it, and I think. I don't know if they were looking for teeth. I think sometimes that's what the guys do. That's what I thought they were doing, because Grubauer kind of tried, pushing some stuff off to the side. So I was hoping no teeth fell out.
Yeah, I wasn't able to tell later in the broadcast because I was looking for that too, to see if a tooth had gotten knocked out. I can't confirm.
I couldn't tell from my vantage point.
I also don't know if he was missing teeth already, which ones were missing and which would be new, right? But I'm with you. I do think that that's sometimes what the goalie does out there. And was it Grubauer in net for that one against Nashville? Remember that?
Yes,
that
it was.
You took.
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
I believe it was Gustav Nyquist picking up his own teeth off the ice in the Nashville game. That was rough.
Right, but wasn't it Grubauer that goes over and kind of like right by him there? Yeah,
and it's checking on him there. Good guy, Grubauer. He's the German gentleman. We haven't used that in a little while, but he is.
That is true. That is true. And then this one from Jeremiah. Waited till RJ was on, but so great to listen to you guys after a nice win for the Kraken. Nice to see Marchand and the Bees take a loss. Love you guys. Congrats, Gregory, on your nuptials. RJ and Dylan are next. You definitely are.
I'm definitely next in less than a month now. That's really coming up. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, thank you, Jeremiah. And the Bruins, I mean, on the flip side of this, like they've looked pretty bad the last couple games. I don't want to take anything away from what the Kraken did, but the Bruins just looked lifeless at times in this game. They looked like a team that ended up getting outscored, I think 13-2 in their last two games. They looked very much like that. Some big gaps in the D zone. I mean, just a mix of a lack of effort plus a lack of real high-end skill beyond their couple guys. And my big takeaway from this one is, man, Jim Montgomery's a heck of a coach. I don't know how he managed to get the seasons out of this group that he did.
I basically said the same thing earlier before you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I was talking about like the depth is just not there. Like who's supposed to be the guy for you? Lindholm goes down in this one. Morgan Geekie has to step up, be a 1C. Like that's not a great place to be operating. And how, so many of these guys, RJ, not only are they necessarily going to put the puck in the net, they're not even going to really generate offense for you. They're not really necessarily going to even keep it in the offensive zone that long for you and kind of get things going. This is just a really tough group. And then they're down their other Lindholm on the defensive side of things. RJ Hampa's Lindholm out, and you're having to give Nikita Zadorov, who did have an okay game in this one, 22 minutes, right? Like this is not a team that's kind of built for that. And then Korpisalo did not look good either on top of it. It's just a bad Bruins squad.
Yeah, they were really missing their Lindholms in this one. Like that was probably the most noticeable.
Yeah, because Kraken probably don't score 5 if one or both of them certainly are out there. I think that is a big deal for them. Daniel was asking, anyone know if the Alaska Airlines discount is open to anyone, or do you need to have had a ticket to the game? It is open to anyone when that happens. And Mark putting in the discount code in here. Now, I thought it was Light Me Up, which is what Mark put in, but I think it actually is Light M Up, like EM.
Oh,
like light them up.
I think you're right there, Dylan.
Yeah.
And I got it on video, but I can't access that right now.
Yeah, it is one of those two things. And Stradek asking, Dylan, are you going to take advantage of the SoCal Alaska discount on their marketing plan is working? I am definitely going to look into it and see what the dates available are and what I could swing for sure. There, Striatic.
Yeah, Savvy Sim, light them up. Yeah, Viren, yeah, it's light them up. So yeah, light them up is the code. And then we all record that up in the press box now every single time it comes up, in case we get another reaction like the Texas one.
Yes,
because we can't miss that now.
Yeah.
So we're all looking for it.
Yeah. Kitty B Kraken, so happy to see Gru's back. They need that. Is it possible this is a better team than we know? Coach Jess' interview on KHN was great. If you saw it, just relieved they kept goals down to 5. Yes, Kitty B Kraken's wallet, probably happy with that. It was a great interview from Jess. It was, Edzo conducted it. Jess was on the headset. Edzo conducted it from up in the booth, RJ. But I think having these assistant coach interviews has been really great. And what we've kind of found is some assistant coaches kind of let on more than others. And Jess is definitely one that kind of really will break things down and talk about them if you kind of give the right question. And Edzo does a good job of kind of giving those questions. And she talked a lot about kind of their approach on the power play now and how they're trying to find different looks, especially those different looks on the perimeter, i.e. a one-timer, right? Which is, I think, basically what they meant there. But yeah, it was a really good in-depth interview. I would recommend people, if you did not catch it, maybe go back and watch the game and just kind of scrub up to it and you can catch it because, Coach Jess is someone who, if asked a direct question about what they're doing out there on the ice, she will talk about it and she will give a really good answer about it. So I am happy about that.
Yeah, I'll go check it out because I wasn't able to see it, of course, being at the game.
Yes. Now, the other part of Kitty B Kraken's question, because I've got fielded this question a lot earlier on, RJ, but I'd love to get your take on it. There's lots of questions around, is this team good? Are they legit? Kind of where are they in the grand scheme of things? What are your thoughts on everything after this one?
I'm still in the mid camp for this. I mean, they are one game above 500 now, and the standings kind of say that they're mid at this point. They're playing better than that at the moment. They're playing a little bit better than what their record is, but I'll stay mid. And I'm sorry to not be completely convinced quite yet. I like the way that they're playing, and I think in the long run, if they continue this, they'll continue to bank points. But sorry, looking at the way the Bruins played tonight, like looking at the game against the Rangers, not taking anything away from the Kraken, but like this Tampa game coming up, I think is going to be pretty telling.
Yeah, it's going to be a tougher game for them, just in the same way the Florida game was kind of a tougher game, but they were able to match Florida for a lot of that.
They were.
Yeah, I said, for me, the one part about it that's a doubt for me, RJ, because otherwise, I was a little bit more optimistic during the downturn than maybe some other people, or certainly you, right? The one thing about this that's giving me pause before I really go all on board with it is I just need to see it over a longer stretch of time. I don't care so much about the opponents, because I think them just kind of taking what other teams are giving them doesn't really matter if you're playing a good team or a bad team, as long as you can execute on that when those opportunities exist, the way we've seen teams do to the Kraken forever, right? As long as you can do that, you're going to be okay, and you're going to be competitive in games. My biggest concern is we have never seen really this group look consistently good and play at this kind of high of a level for a long stretch of time. And so that,
I think
to
that's
me, is
well
going to be the
said.
thing.
Yeah, because it's one thing to put this kind of stretch of play together for 6 games, which teams can do, even mid teams, even bad teams can do that. It's another to go out and do it for a month, for 2 months, and kind of keep that going. So I'm with you. I guess I just need to see it longer.
Yeah. And then David here, there are ebbs and flows to a season. I think they're a much better team than they were when they lost twice to the Sharks. They have a decent chance to make the playoffs if Joey and Gru continue. I mean, that'll be a big part of about all of this as well, RJ. If you're able to have both goaltenders go out there on a nightly basis, give your team a chance to win, keep the wear and tear off of each other too, I think that's huge.
Yeah, and in fact, I think it's necessary. If they're going to contend for a playoff spot, they will absolutely need both goalies to be playing well enough, for Grubauer to play well enough to keep the wear and tear off Joey, and for Joey to continue to go and do his thing. It's just going to be absolutely necessary. So getting both guys going is really important here, and just the confidence for Philip Grubauer after this game. He looked like a confident goalie. We got the chance to talk to him after the game. It looked like he felt confident, and that's just so great to see, especially after how things went earlier this season.
Yeah. Viren here. I'm sort of agnostic on Winterton versus Sprong in the lineup at the moment, but I'm very opposed to Winterton in the press box. Lots of people shouting out Daniel Sprong, RJ, for back checking. He back checked in this one.
He did, and I love Daniel Sprong's game. Bilesman was actually asked about it, and he gave an answer this morning that didn't sound the most favorable to playing Daniel Sprong. But I thought Sprong played well, and Bilesman pointed out how, look, we know that he can be dangerous whenever he's out there from an offensive perspective. He didn't get on the score sheet tonight, but I'm sure you could remember 3 or 4 different chances where he looked dangerous in the offensive zone in this one. And the biggest compliment in my mind that I think Dan Bilesman gave him was that he played within the way we want to play. He played within the system that we have. And hearing that from Dan Bilesman, I think that's probably the highest praise that he can deliver, even better than the, having scoring chances, looking dangerous out there. And that's where I think Daniel Sprong actually can be a valuable piece to this team, even though their identity is what it is, right? You're going to want to grind it out. You're going to want to play that way. In a fourth line role, it's limited minutes. If he can just buy in at least a little bit, he can be a productive piece in like 10 minutes of ice time. I wouldn't give him any more than that, but that's where he can shine.
Yeah, no, it is the opportunity for him to shine. And I did kind of give him some credit after I dismissed it a little bit at first, by saying that I would rather have Winterton out there. I just think he's a better fit. But I will give him credit in the sense that, Oliver Bjorkstrand needed to work on his offensive game, was scratched, came out, offensive game has looked better. We Berkey scored the goal after he was scratched and came back. Shane Wright, obviously being scratched, helped him out a lot and kind of resetting, coming out with a different mindset. If you apply that same logic to Daniel Sprong, unlike those other guys that needed to wake up offensively, he needed to learn defense, just period. And it does appear in his first game back that he has done that. So the Dan scratch magic is still kind of there for Daniel Sprong, even though he didn't contribute offensively tonight.
Yeah, so far so good. And then one more thing, to being anti-Winterton in the press box, I'm absolutely with you. Yeah. The question, why call him up if he's just going to sit? I think it's that McCann was a true game time decision tonight. And so that's probably why Winterton was there as a backup plan for McCann.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. A couple super chats here. Zoe, the Let's Go Bruin chant stopped after goal 3. It didn't seem like there was a lot of Bruins fans in the building tonight, RJ.
Yes, a lot of yellow in the crowd, and we did hear some kind of dueling, let's go Bruins, let's go Kraken chants, but they did die down as the score got a little bit worse for them. So.
Yeah, and it makes sense. Andrew with a super chat here as well. Congrats on the solid win. Great job tonight. Yeah, team just played fantastic, and they're doing good stuff here. Love the stuff. Cole saying Grew must have seen the Armchair GM stream. Lol.
Oh yeah, I mean, one of the first things we did on either configuration was buy him out. So.
All right. Let's see here. B, if you have the Kraken app, they always post the info there for the Alaska flight code stuff. So that is good to know. And yeah, we'll just see. And Jeremy said, does it have to be a flight out of Seattle? I believe it does. And then as Julia's pointing out, there's usually date and day of the week restrictions. So we'll see. It looks like Savvy's got it in here, January 7th through March 5th with blackout dates in there. That's not a bad time period though.
No, that's pretty good. I mean, if you, for the, what is it? The Four Nations break, that covers that.
Yeah. Yeah. AHL All-Star game is in Coachella Valley.
That's true.
Just saying, if you want to go down there, anybody, that is an option there. So I like that. Daniel, blood on the ice is one of the most stark visuals in all of sports. Absolutely is. Now, Daniel also had a question, RJ, going back to the Montour play that results in the penalty shot. Basically asking, why did that one result in a penalty shot when the other situation earlier this season where the Kraken covered the puck didn't result in a penalty shot? It was just a power play.
Right. So the difference is this one was in the goal crease. And so if you cover the puck, a player covers the puck in the goal crease, that's a penalty shot. If it's outside of the crease, that is just a regular penalty.
That's what I thought too. There was some confusion about whether the first one was in the crease or out of the crease, but yeah, that
right.
was
and so there you can argue that too, if it's close or whatever, but that is the rule.
Yeah. Milo Gruby's 2 wins away from being the winningest goalie from Germany, by the way. So that's good,
that's
good
cool. I got to
there.
keep track of that.
Yeah. We'll kind of go quick here. Jenna, I finally got to see a win in person this season. They look so different than the last 2 games I've seen. That's awesome, Jenna. Congrats and happy for you getting that one. Let's see. Stratic, RJ, thanks for the great shots of the new Grubauer mask a couple of days ago. Lots of love for that one.
Yeah, and the mask is 1-0. Love that. I mean, it's such a good looking mask. I love the two-tone. I I hope he wears it for more games this season. And I understand the last one. I don't know if this was a reason for anything, but he did get hurt in it the first game wearing it. So I'm glad he did not get hurt in this game, because that's just a fantastic mask. And also our photographer Jen got some great shots of it as well. Much better than mine and during warm-up. So that was pretty cool too.
Yeah. And then we got super chat here from Jenna. Not to be a downer, but I was sorry to hear about David Bonderman. Thoughts are with his family. So grateful to him for giving us a hockey team. It was a wonderful tribute, I thought, that they did during the game there, during that first period, RJ, and all that stuff. And I know there's lots of interest in the patches that the players were wearing, and I assume they'll make those available at some point.
I would hope so. And I mean, incredible work on the patches, right? One, to get them out so quickly. I mean, that's a task in itself, whatever they look like. But to go with the red eye, that really, that was his thing. He suggested that for the Kraken logo. I think it wouldn't be the same without it. So to include it on the patch, I think just really well done. The Kraken don't miss on those kinds of things. And with the tribute to him, I think it was really great, really touching. Having his grandkids come out also for the hero of the game. Just so many things like that were great to see. And then Philip Grubauer did dedicate this game, this win, to David Bonderman, said that we wouldn't be here without him with this team.
Yeah, no, is good stuff from them all the way around there. Looks like so shout out to Carson Rakoff for the hat trick in the World Junior Selection Camp game. I think he was probably going to make the team anyway, but that's certainly not going to hurt his chances. I hope they wear the patch the rest of the season. My guess is they will. Usually in situations like this, they will.
I think they should.
Yeah, Pablo, my back is doing better. Still not good enough to be at the games, unfortunately, but we'll see about Saturday. I'm cautiously optimistic about that.
We missed you here, Dylan. So many people are asking me, where's Dylan? How's Dylan? We want Dylan back.
I know. Because I don't get in front of them for the press meal.
See that? That's they don't lose out there. Yeah, that's true. Although I've been playing at Koi. I don't want to give away too much. I've just day-to-day mid-body injury. Don't give many more than that.
I think that's just it. I had another one for you, but I don't remember it offhand now. RJ, looking ahead to the Tampa game, do you have any thoughts on that one before we get there?
It's going to be another good challenge for this team, just like the Florida game was. And the Kraken got up for that Florida game. I'm excited to see what they do against a Lightning team that's looked pretty good recently. Those games, they're just more fun for me when they're playing against a really good opponent who's going to come in here and bring their A game. I like to see those measuring stick games for the Kraken, even if they don't always get the win like the Florida game. That was one of the most fun games that I've watched for the Kraken in a while, because they're playing that great opponent who's playing really well. I want another game like that, but with the Kraken, getting the 2 points at the end of it.
Definitely. I think that would be a good one. I think we'll close it out on this from Michael. Super chat here. Love the chat, but I don't have any more ice time in me. Good night, all. Great way to phrase it, Michael. Definitely. Thanks for the super chat. Thanks everybody for the super chats for this one. Thanks everybody for joining us for this wonderful Disco Dan dance party after this big win for the Kraken there. Yeah, I'm not going to try dancing right now with my back. This is not good. But it was great to be in here and kind of celebrate this with everybody, as it always is. And can't wait to see what we get to see from them on Saturday. We'll see. Until then, we'll see y'all next time.